Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. So glad to be with you tonight as the forest fires creep a little bit closer. But you know what? We're still safe. We're not on alert. They're just getting a little closer. Yeah. So I'll keep you updated with that, guys. But we're preparing for Lon Strickler and Strange Days tonight. I'll tell you guys, Lon's hair and beard combination look fucking fantastic tonight. They really do. I don't usually swear on this program, but God, when it looks that good, you have to drop an F-bomb every now and again. All right, let's get things going as we have Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position. Necessary Dialogue with a silver, Kitty Caddywhack with a bronze medal tonight. And let's kick it off. We got Race Fan. We got Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't talk phantoms, you can't talk monsters without being lubed up. So Mel is lubing us up as we speak. Don't forget to give yourself a little shot, Mel. You know what I'm talking about there. Fap Nuts, how are you? And Robert Lamar, thanks for coming on in. Little Cam kicking off the super chat tonight. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. Road Flare, how are you? Lisa Smith is here. Lisa Smith will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. T-Bone, my man, how are you tonight? Hope you're having a good night, you and the missus there. Frankie B, what's going on? Bill Sardellis, nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call, we got Mickey G, we got Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, and we have number 34 in your program tonight, starting at center ice from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson, there he is. Shane Gord, good to see you. Jaquetta, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call. Paramarv, nice to see you, my bud. And Gear Jammers, thanks for coming on in. Honest Content, good to see you. Luscious Jewels, and definitely not Null. How are you guys? Thank you for coming in. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Been a while. We haven't had a show in a while because Doug hasn't been here. Linda, how are you? Escape from Blue Jersey. Thanks for coming on in. Algaray over on Twitch did 2,000 phantom push-ups in 4 minutes. Didn't even break a sweat. And that's why he is going to be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Do not make eye contact. He's still jacked up from them push-ups, and he does not want to make eye contact tonight. That's in his contract. Shogun, how are you? Aussie Boss Tiger, thanks for coming on in. Lovely Laura Elizabeth, thank you for joining us tonight. And let's scroll on down and say hello next to Dr. Bob. And Kinsley, nice to see you. And who else is here? Well, it's Meemaw Flowers, everybody. I'm Hardcore on X. Good to have you here. Commonwealth Andrew, good morning to you. Gory Tiger, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Dunzel. And who is next? It's Tyler 42000. Yes. East Coast turnaround. How you doing, buddy? And Gary J, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Terry Mills. How are you? and self-destruct. Welcome to SOR chat. La 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 la. Bright. Thank you, my dear. I love you. I hope you're being awesome right now. I saw your new pictures on Facebook. You're looking gorgeous, by the way. You really are. Probably has something to do with Lon's hair. I'm just saying. Don't quote me on it. I'm just saying. T-Bone, my man, thank you for that amazing super chat as well. We appreciate that, buddy. We got to get the radio side going. Oh, my gosh. John Jackson, how are you? PDG, nice to see you. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you joining us for Lon Strickler's Strange Days. He's from phantomsandmonsters.com. We're going to get going here in about 25, 30 seconds as we continue on with our roll call on YouTube. Claudette, nice to see you. And Digger Dog, thanks for coming on in. And who else do we have? Who else? Let's see. Jay Truth, nice to have you here. Rono, nice to see you. Grandizer, thanks for coming on in. And do me a favor, everybody. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods. We're together. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. We want to see all of you up here at the heart of British Columbia, September 18th through 20th, for the first annual Caribou Con. Get your tickets right now at cariboucon.com. We're going to have an amazing show tonight. Why? Because Lon Strickler at Strange Days is about to join us for the next couple of hours as we talk monsters and legends and everything in between. In hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will be here for another spooky story. We're going to follow that up. Filling in for Grant Baker on the UFO report will be Nicole Sackage once again, and you know it's going to be great. So let's get right to tonight's show, because we love it when Lon Strickler is here. He is an internationally respected Fortean researcher, author, and publisher of the acclaimed Phantoms and Monsters blog at phantomsandmonsters.com. Since launching his website in 2005, it has become one of the leading online destinations for eyewitness reports involving everything from cryptids, UFOs, hauntings, and unexplained phenomena. Drawing tens of thousands of readers each day, his investigations and research have led Lon to be featured by hundreds of media outlets and highlighted on television programs, including Ancient Aliens, Paranormal Witness, and Fact or Faked, and many more. He is also the author of numerous books. All you got to do is go to phantomsandmonsters.com, go to the book section. You want to add Lon's books to your library, because if you love these topics, you need it from the best, and that's what Lon is. So let's not waste any more time. Lon Strickler, always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm glad to be here, Dave. I'm
glad you're here too. I'm glad you're here too. And, you know, one of the things that I absolutely love about you, Lon, is you have the ability to be able to talk about any sort of monster. You don't consider yourself an expert, but you know a lot about this, probably more than most people in this field. Did you ever think, looking back on it, going back in time when you were little Lonnie Strickler, that this would be the path, that this would be, you'd have this fantastic hair, this gorgeous beard to go along with it, and you would just be raring to go into the monster world and be one of the top 14 researchers out there?
No. I had no idea. I had no inkling that this was going to happen. And but things happened to work out that way, so here I am.
Be honest. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a history teacher and possibly an archaeologist.
Well, you're kind of close with that, with what you do now.
Yeah, well,
You're just looking
yeah.
at it from a monster's point of view.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've always liked the investigation part of things, and if that's the career path I would have taken, then I probably had been knee deep in it.
What makes a good cryptid paranormal investigator in your mind?
Patience, patience. I mean, you got to be able to see and sense what people have encountered, what they've experienced, give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise, and just to present their story the way they wanted you to present it, and to add on facts that complement the report.
When you are taking reports and you get thousands of emails every month regarding these topics, how do you choose what makes it to your website and what doesn't?
Uh, that's hard to answer. I guess it just depends on how much information the witness gives me. I don't like to have something that's it doesn't get to the crux of the actual encounter. And if I get a hold of them and try to get more information and they just don't give it to me, I'm not gonna supplement anything. So it has to be a report that's got as much information as possible. I mean, I'm even open to them suggesting what they think it may be as well. So, but the more information that's given, the more true information that's given, nothing embellished, the better.
Lon, there are so many different monster stories out there. You must hear hundreds of them weekly. I mean, do you ever get tired of somebody saying, whether they're reaching out on Facebook Messenger or whether they're reaching out on social media or on your podcast, Phantoms and Monsters on YouTube, which we encourage everybody to go hit subscribe on. Do you ever just kind of get tired of it at times where you need a break?
Not really, or not yet. I guess I can use both of those terms, but yeah, I have to take a break once in a while. I really do. I mean, I've kind of learned uh doing everything without taking a break is just going to lessen the appeal and to hurt me overall. So yeah, I do take a break.
Your favorite monster, what is it?
Well, you know that.
Well,
We
but we always have different people listening. That's why I ask a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
repetitive
Well,
questions.
it's the Mothman or the winged humanoid phenomena. I I just find something fascinating about that. Not only because I had an encounter back in 1988, but it just seems that my life's path has kind of crossed over into that, where I am getting reports that I just never thought I would get. And when all this started in Chicago back in 2011, and then further on, it was kind of I don't know, it was kind of eye opening to me that maybe this is something I really should have been doing, and that I shouldn't really question about what I became or what I did or what I'm doing. So yeah, I think a lot of it. has kind of gotten into my personal life, and I think I'm the better for it, and I think everybody else who's interested in is the better for it as well.
Lon Strickler from phantomsandmonsters.com is our website. We went back to Flight 21 this past weekend, and we got some pretty bad forest fires. We were only about, I would say, 20 miles from the forest fire, 25 miles from the forest fire, and we wanted to pick up our trail cameras and everything.
Mhm.
And we go grab the trail cameras. I'm looking at them. Didn't catch Bigfoot, but I'll tell you what we did catch. We have had on our trail cameras a lovely lynx who's been chasing rabbits in that area.
Mm,
Well, this time he proudly walked his rabbit in his mouth right up to our trail cam and passed it.
really?
Finally got it.
That's pretty
I
cool.
was cheering him on. I was like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
this is awesome. But the week before, we actually found a couple of 2 new 18.5-inch tracks.
Mhm.
And we also found on our trail cams that the cameras, the day after we left, they were only out there for about 6 days. The day after we left, the cameras were blocked.
Really?
Yeah. And
What
the
are
funny, the funny
what are they
part about
blocked
it,
with?
well, the one in the tree was blocked with moss. Now, I know there's a resident squirrel in that area because we camouflaged the trail camera with moss. Okay. And I'm thinking that he may have, I'm trying to be logical here.
Mhm.
Okay. I think he may have climbed up the tree and pushed the moss off the camera and right in front of the lens. But the weird part about it is it happened the day after. And then on our other camera closest to the gifting site, I put a stick, about a 6-7 inch stick on top of the camera, kind of just to try and blend things in. Well, when we got to the camera, that stick was still sitting on top of the trail cam.
Hmm.
But when we checked the SD card, the stick was in front of the camera for a week. And then the day of that we got there, that's when the stick went back up on the camera. Now, once again, we have a resident squirrel there who knows where the camera is and loves showing off for it. But I'm wondering, and I'm just wondering, Lon, what do you believe about? And let's turn up the woo factor here early.
Okay.
Do you believe that Sasquatch has the ability to use other animals to do its bidding?
I've heard stories over the years where people say that they do kind of take wildlife for pets, or to influence them somehow. Maybe that's the case. But then again, maybe this Bigfoot is trying to get you to recognize that he's there or something. Uh, and somehow avoid the camera, put the stick in front of him, and put it back up. I don't discount anything, to be honest with you. So, but I have heard, especially raccoons and and groundhogs, as far as being around Bigfoot. I mean, I have heard that in the past where people say that they have seen them very close to each other on occasion. So I don't know. Maybe something going on there.
The thing that happened, Lon, was yesterday when we take the trail into the gifting site, we have to step over a piece of landing gear.
Mm-hmm.
That landing gear had been moved.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And we brought a new guy on our team named Charlie. And we were looking at the landing gear like, who are the idiots who did this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the idiots who moved this? And then, because the only thing, I mean, those pieces, they're not heavy, but they're heavy enough where it's going to take some strength.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And on that note, Later on, we put Charlie, who's a rookie investigator, literally met him the night before at our ghost tour, and he just clicked. And I'm like, hey, do you want to come on out to the forest with us? He's like, yeah, I do. Like, just good spiritual energy, this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we put him under the Estes method. He didn't even know what it was. And I
Mm-hmm.
told him, okay, this is what you're going to be blindfolded. You're going to have noise canceling headphones. You're going to hear a radio static going on. Repeat the words that you hear. Well, we put him in the Estes method for just a hair under 20 minutes. And with about 7 minutes before we cut tape, he says there's this voice that comes in, and he's like, don't move it. You're not supposed to move it. And as he's doing that in the blindfold, he's seeing the pieces of the crash site that had been moved.
Hmm. Do you think the guy has any abilities?
He's learning his abilities.
Hmm.
But it was pretty cool how he was able to pick up on that right away.
Yeah.
Right away. Right?
Yeah, that's interesting. He may be intuitive. He may be very intuitive, actually. Can sense the energy, the remaining energy of something being moved. And kind of form seer ability as a result of it. Somewhat similar to what I do. So yeah, that would be a good tool. That would be a good tool.
Yeah, it was creepy though how he was able to pick that up.
Mhm.
And I may have had a sighting last night.
Okay.
I may have had a sighting. I'm not sure. I cannot prove it. Okay. But I definitely saw something black, big and black, move through the trees. And at first I thought it could have been a bear because I'd found some fresh bear crap on the ground. Stool, as some people may say, stool or feces, if you want to get real publicly correct or politically correct. And what was interesting was we heard some tree branches kind of shaking and rattling in the distance to our right. Okay, we're in bear territory. Bear energy is out there. We got the scat that it doesn't look it's definitely fresh from the day, but a couple hours old at least. And so we go to the left, and I'm looking through the trees, and I see this big black mass move through the trees.
Hmm.
And I call the guys over, tell them what I saw. I walk about 40 feet closer to it, where there's these two fallen trees kind of blocking the path. It's about waist high, these trees. And I'll be honest with you, I'm too chunky to get over those things, man. I really am. But looking where I saw that mass walk, there's like a dried out creek bed in there, just a tiny one, like a little stream. And that probably was 2 to 3 feet deep. And where I saw that mass on the tree line, a little bit higher up, I'm thinking, okay, that from looking at it from this vantage point with that little streamline in there, that would have had to have been about 5, 6 feet high where I was looking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that ain't a bear. There's no way that would be a black bear. Otherwise, it would be the world's biggest black bear ever.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking, okay, bull moose, which can walk very quietly for their size, could have been that. Or our friend. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's entirely possible, and the way you described it, I believe it may have been that, or but yeah, I mean, you may have had an encounter.
Could have. We got about 4.5 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Lon Strickler and Strange Days here on Spaced Out Radio. Lon joins us at the end of each month to go over the monsters of the month. That's why we love him here. His website, phantomsandmonsters.com. Lon, so many more people, even though there's forest fires everywhere, more people are going outside. More people are invested in camping and the outdoors this year, it seems. And it's almost like everybody I talk to, nobody's traveling anywhere because nobody has any money to travel right now with the way the economy is. So what do you do when the economy is bad? You go camping, right? You go camping and you go enjoy the wilderness, toss a line in the lake like you used to back when it was fun. And here we are. People are having encounters. People are seeing things. Have you seen an influx of reports from the force?
It has picked up. Yeah, it has picked up this summer. I'm getting more encounter reports than I have in a while. They're not really spectacular reports, but people are believing they're seeing something, and it's not all cryptid either. There's a lot of orbs activity and also unknown activity. This whole Glimmerman cloak being thing is picking up. I mean, we're getting more and more reports of that coming in, and you're right. I think people are out there and they're just seeing it now, and they're kind of open to the fact that maybe there is something out there they don't know about. So, but we have been getting some strange reports.
For people who may not know what a Glimmerman is, maybe take a couple of minutes to describe that.
Well, we really don't know what it is. It's a humanoid shape that seems to be camouflaged or has like a wavy pattern to it, though you can see the edges of it. Just like everybody else, I use the same comparison to the Predator from the Predator films. It looks very much like that. So, I don't know what people are seeing, but what they describe is very similar to what's in the films. And the clicking sound happens a lot. Sometimes they have yellow eyes, but they're up in the trees a lot. People see them in residential areas, wilderness areas, all over. So, and we're getting more and more reports in different areas as well. There's no real hot spots for this phenomena. So, honestly, I do believe the whole Predator theme may have started as a result of some actual sightings years ago when they wrote the script. So, we talk about it in the book, and of course, we're not really positive that there was something to that, but I think there may be a correlation there somehow. But we're getting more reports.
Do you think that is a camouflage Bigfoot, or do you think it's something more?
I wish I knew. I would say I believe it's more of an ultra-terrestrial being, something that's not of this plane. I don't know if it's a Bigfoot. I could see instances where it could be as camouflage, because we have so many stories going back years where people have seen these things literally manifest and vanish. But it might not be that the only cryptid. Of course, with the Mothman and the Chicago in particular, we've had several sightings where they just vanished or manifested out of thin air. Same with cryptid canines. We've had reports very similar to that. Do they use that type of cloaking to disguise themselves? We don't know.
Hold
But
that thought.
Okay. Go ahead.
Lon Strickler, phantomsofmonsters.com. He's here for Strange Days because we love it when Lon is strange and weird and brings the woo with these strange cryptid creatures to you. We'll be right back on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear. We got a poll going. Thanks to Grandizer for putting the poll up. Right now, Bigfoot is leading at 57%. Why can't I see the rest of the poll here?
What's the question?
What is your favorite cryptid? Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, other. Dogman's 20%. Mothman, you're in the 2% category right now, Lon.
Well, I'm not surprised.
All right, lovely Tamisha, how you doing? And who else has joined us here? Who else is lovely tonight for us? Where's the lovely and late crowd? Danny Staten is lovely. Thanks for coming on in. La 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 la. Right. She's lovely. Integrationing's lovely. T-Bone, you're lovely too. Sandy B, welcome to SOR Chat. You're lovely. If you want to email me, Dave@spacedoutradio.com. Dave@spacedoutradio.com. I try and make my email very difficult. So it's Dave@spacedoutradio.com. Let's see here. Kaiju, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you. Oob to Joe's Maine, you've got big feet. Where's Lubla tonight? All right. And Joel's lovely too. Let's see here. Let's get a little look at the old forest fire situation here. Hold on. I'll show you guys what we're dealing with. BC wildfire map. Let's go here. Let's see here. Show us a little picture here. Show us a little picture here. All right, so let's share this. Go here, go here. There we go. Share. So these are all the wildfires burning in the province right now. So let's go to Old Davy's area here. So this is where Old Davy lives, right here. See? Right there. 108 Mile Ranch, 100 Mile House in that area. And this big bastard right here, this was two fires that just joined into one. Right there. And that has put an evac order right up to about here. Evacuation order up to about this area right here. Now, one of my Sasquatch areas is, there's Valentine Lake. So it's about right here, right in this area, these marshes here. And then Flight 21 would be, there's Whale Lake. So Flight 21 is, can't believe Whale Lake got on the map there. Flight 21's like in this area here. But yeah, that's the big bastard that's moving right now. This is the one that's taking out a little, hasn't taken it out yet, but town of Clinton here is could be burned at any time, but they're holding the line. And it jumped the highway there too. Wow. Cool. And yeah. So right now, all of this area, they got this 70-mile house here. They got evacuated at 10 a.m. this morning. And the alert went out to about right, where are we here? It's a nice highway. It's a long highway, straight. to about here. 93 mile is where the alert has been issued. So not that far, but still far enough that I get to stay in my home, my bed. Just stinks like campfire outside. Let's see here. Who else has jumped in here? Anybody? Eva, you're lovely. I'm not burning, but if you want to book a flight, book it. It'll be gone by Paracon or CaribouCon. Pat Leal, you're lovely. Nice to have you here. Caged on the inside, looking lovely tonight. Skip to Malou, looking lovely tonight. And thank you to Little Cam, Bright, T-Bone, and Walter for the super chats. Here we go. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate all of you listening in as we have Lon Strickler from phantomsandmonsters.com. Going to get into some monster stories next. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. There he is, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We call him Lon Strickler around here. He is with phantomsandmonsters.com, one of the best websites in the world when it comes to reporting the monsters that people are having encounters with. Lon, thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate you tuning us in, man.
Well, I thank you for having me, Dave.
All right. You always have great stories. So we're going to start off with this one here. A Lancaster County, Pennsylvania resident contacted Lon regarding two unusual encounters with what she initially described as a mist-like entity capable of forming into human shape. When attempting to explain its appearance and movement, she compared it to the transporter effect depicted in the original Star Trek television series. The first incident occurred more than 25 years ago inside a home where she had already experienced other unexplained activity. At the time, she suspected that the house might be haunted, although the figure she witnessed did not resemble a conventional ghost or apparition. The witness recalled, "My experience happened so long ago that I do not believe I had children at the time, so it must have been more than 25 years ago. At that point, I was already convinced that our house in Lancaster County might be haunted because several other strange things had happened there. There were enough unusual incidents that I begun to accept that something unexplained was occurring in the house. One evening, a friend and I were sitting together in an upstairs room that I used as my living room. We were simply visiting and talking when we both noticed something moving up the staircase. It looked like a mist, but it did not behave like ordinary smoke, fog, or steam. It seemed to rise deliberately up the steps. When it reached the landing at the top of the staircase, the mist began to collect and form into the outline of a human being. The closest comparison I can make is the way the person appeared while being transported on the television series Star Trek. It had a fragmented, shimmering, almost particle-like appearance. It was not completely solid, but there was enough structure to recognize that it had been taking on a human form. The moment I turned and looked directly at it, the figure seemed to collapse and or release itself from that shape. It suddenly whooshed away from the landing and moved into the room that we were using as our upstairs bedroom. It did not walk or move like a person. It seemed to stretch and break apart into lines, almost like visible lines of motion or flight. The movement was extremely fast and unlike anything I'd ever seen. I do not remember hearing a sound when it appeared or moved, but I remember feeling very uncomfortable. The area became noticeably cold, and I had an intense feeling that something was there with us. The entire experience left me deeply unsettled. My friend witnessed it as well. I have often wondered whether she still remembers the incident. At the time, she was not very open to spiritual or paranormal subjects, although she has since become more aware of that side herself. The witness did not see the figure again for approximately 10 to 15 years. Her second encounter occurred in the basement of the same residence. She continues, I was walking through the basement when I suddenly sensed that something was directly in front of me. I could see a strange, distorted, pixel like shape occupying the space ahead. It was difficult to focus on because it was not completely visible. It was as though I could see the outline of something without being able to see its actual body. The air seemed distorted where it was standing. I instinctively raised both hands in front of me because I felt like that I was about to be physically walking into it. It seemed close enough that I expected my hands to touch something. Before I made contact, or could make contact, it vanished into thin air. The best way I can describe the sensation is to imagine having your eyes closed or being blindfolded while another person silently enters your personal space. Even though you cannot see the person clearly, you somehow know that someone or something is standing immediately in front of you. That was exactly how it felt. I knew something was there before I could fully understand what I was seeing. After the witness's email, this is Lon now, Lon says, I spoke with her directly by telephone. During our conversation, I asked whether the entity resembled the reflective camouflage effect associated with the creature in the Predator films. The phenomena is often described by witnesses as a glassine, shimmering, pixelated, or glimmer man effect. The witness told me that she had never watched the Predator films and was unfamiliar with the comparison. And 1 second here, Microsoft just locked up on me there. And Lon, while I'm doing this, just maybe get your comments so far on this encounter.
Well, I had talked to the witness later on, and I later went to the location. Now, I wasn't there long. I had something I was doing actually in the area, and didn't have time to go. But I had talked to her since that time, and the phenomena continues.
Wow.
And that's been about 6 years now. So I believe it is a glimmer man.
Right.
I do, from other things she had told me and some confidential stuff she told me. I think the house does have spirit activity, but I'm not sure what these beings are. I don't know if there's something associated with spirit activity or it's something else. But
Well,
she did watch the Predator movie, and she said it looked exactly like that.
okay. So this is the first case that I've heard of a glimmer man inside of somebody's house. Usually they're out in the wilderness. People see the majority of them out in forests.
Mhm.
Is this an unusual case where this glimmer man creature is in a house?
It's not common, but I have had other sightings inside buildings.
Hmm. Like I don't know how I would react to that. Do you let me put the focus back on Glimmer Man here for a second.
Mhm.
How long have people been seeing this creature, or is this something that has come up ever since the original Predator movie in I believe that came out in the late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, the sightings that had been reported, even the Maccabee sighting, were after the movie. Um, Now the Maccabee sighting, I think, was in the 90s, but it was after the first film. I mean, there were some subsequent films done before and after, but yeah, most of the sightings started overall around the early 2000s, and it's been steadily picking up. I mean, we're getting the very similar type of sighting reports even now. So, but most of them are outside. Occasionally we'll get one that's inside. Uh, but unfortunately, we have not been able to record anything on the inside. We have a few pictures from the outside, but they're not very, I don't know, they're not very well defined. We do see the glimmer, but we don't necessarily see the outline of the being. So, yep. So that's what we're at right now.
How often are they being seen now?
I probably get a report a month.
Wow.
Myself and the guys I wrote the book with. I think we're still getting reports.
And are they located in different places? Like, are they spread out, the reports, or are they like a dog man, which, a few years ago, going back a couple decades, these things were usually only seen in Michigan, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
maybe Indiana, and now they're seen everywhere. Is that much like Glimmerman?
Not really. I overall there hasn't been any hotspots, so people see them occasionally, many times associated with other phenomena. I mean, where they think there may be a Bigfoot or something else going on or spirit activity, and then they see this thing. So occasionally it happens, but overall, there's no specific areas where we're getting this. It just happens to come in different areas, but it is a worldwide phenomenon. It's not necessarily in just North America.
Hmm. Let's finish this letter here. This was your reaction to it, was that she had not ever seen the Predator movie, and she stated that the visual distortion in the video was remarkable to what she had witnessed inside her home once she did see it. She was particularly surprised by the fragmented, transparent, and pixel-like appearance of the creature, as well as the surrounding background that appeared to bend or shift around it. The Lancaster County encounter is especially notable because the witness described the phenomena using two independent visual references. The first was the Star Trek transporter effect, which she used to explain how the mist gathered and developed into a human form. The second was the Predator style camouflage effect, which she recognized only after being shown a sample many years after the original incidents. The fact that another person apparently witnessed the first manifestation may also be significant. If the second observer remembers the event, her testimony could provide independent confirmation of the figure's appearance, movement, and location within the house. The witness did not describe recognizable facial features, no clothing, limbs, or other anatomical details. What she observed appearing was to be a human shape distortion rather than a solid bodied entity. It was capable of forming from a mist like substance, moving rapidly without walking and disappearing almost instantaneously. Whether the figure represented an apparition, an unknown biological presence, a cloaked entity, or some form of environmental or perceptual anomaly remains undetermined. However, the witness remains certain that the phenomena occupied physical space and was not simply a fleeting shadow or trick of light. Her instinctive reaction during the basement encounter, raising her hands because she believed she was about to collide with it, suggests that the figure produced a strong sense of proximity and physical presence, even though its body remained largely transparent. The case remains an intriguing example of the phenomena commonly referred to as the Glimmer Man, which we just talked about. Now, the question that I have these Glimmer Man or Glimmer people, whatever we want to call them, have any of them been involved in anything that is violent towards people?
There have been a few instances where the witness was fearful, where it would get closer to them. Say they were in a tree stand or deer hunting or something, and the thing would be in the trees and get closer to them. But as far as actual contact, this example is probably the closest that I know of anyone in proximity to the being. So, yeah, the indoor sightings, of course, are very much closer than the outside sightings, but it hasn't really been a violent reaction, but it's been possibly a territorial or curiosity reaction, trying to get closer. I mean, we don't know how well this thing actually sees. I mean, what kind of senses it possesses. So I got to figure that it was just trying to get closer to see who, see the human itself. So that's the only thing I can figure.
Has it, is it stalking people? Is it moving its direction towards, trying to intimidate people? Like I know in the Maccabee case, it was something that, it was up in a tree and she was in camouflage,
Mhm.
Susan Maccabee, and we still to this day don't know whether it saw her or not, even though it was looking right at her. She was camouflaged up in a deer stand. I
Yeah.
mean, how do you think about this?
I think they determine movement. Now, do they have actual sight to determine movement? Do they have some echolocation? They do make clicking sounds. I don't know what that's for. Uh, is that how they determine movement? I don't know. But I think they're very curious. I don't know what their agenda is, but if they have an agenda, but I think they're very curious, almost to the point where they kind of seems like they take some type of mental note as to what is going on, and but they don't linger. They get a sense of what's going on and they leave for the most part. Now, the one thing that's unusual about this one is that this mist that formed into this being is pretty unusual. It's not. I don't think I've ever had one that did that, though I could be wrong. Uh, are they able to manifest from another form into the Glimmerman cloaking form? Or is it something that's part of their solid form that turns into the cloaking form? That we don't know.
The people who are seeing them,
Mhm.
they have anything in common? Like, are these people who are experiencing multiple paranormal activities at once, or are they seeing it fresh, just out of out of the corner of their eye, or just having this once of a lifetime experience?
Yeah, most of the witnesses had no sense of the paranormal, really. You know, it's one of those things that they noticed. They usually don't report it right away. They stew on it a bit, and then somebody will mention something about something similar, and then they decide to contact me. And that does happen where people have seen something very similar and they bring it up, and then the original witness will contact us.
Lon Strickler from phantomsandmonsters.com is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, talking about these Glimmermen. We got about 6 minutes to go here. Lon, has there been a lot of cryptid sightings around these Glimmerman sightings, or UFO sightings as well?
Occasionally, it's nothing that I can really hang my hat on. I don't know if they're connected or not, but just like a lot of other cryptid sightings and other phenomena, there does seem to be a fine line to where they may be connected to other phenomena as well. Uh, as time has gone on over the years, we are, most investigators and researchers are starting to see that there is a connection uh, between these phenomena.
What advice
Either,
would you sorry, go ahead,
go
Lon.
ahead. No, go ahead.
What advice would you give someone who believes they've encountered one of these Glimmermen?
Contact me or contact someone to let them know about it. I know it's not the easiest thing to talk about, and of course, people hate to be ridiculed, of course, and but I do urge people to come forward. There's a lot of things out there we just don't know, and this is one of them. And I think it's conducive to finding real evidence that people do come forward and continue on to report what they have seen, sensed, or perceived.
I want to go back to the question where you said this creature really started being seen about
Mhm.
2 decades ago.
Mhm.
A lot of new creatures over the last 30, 35 years have really popped up. But is that out of the ordinary, or is that something that happens all the time? I mean, if you look back in time to the Goat Man or the Ohio Frogman or something along those lines.
Mhm. I think technology has kind of fueled this, of course, with the internet and the paranormal becoming mainstream in media now. There's more written, there's more people investigating, there's more people that have interest in it, and people who want to know the truth. And I think that's going to continue on. We have a lot of younger people that are getting into this, but I think that's why we're getting sightings of newer type of unknown beings. Um, the paranormal is just not a static subject. I mean, things change. And the good thing about it is all the older type of phenomena that people report or experience continues on. It's just something we add on to it.
Incredible. Lon Strickler is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I mean, for someone who does this like you do, I would assume that, there's always a new cryptid popping up.
Yeah.
Glimmerman really is gaining popularity, as they all do at some point,
Hmm.
but are there other cryptids like the Glimmerman that we should know about?
Yeah, the pale humanoids, which we have really no idea what they are. They could be ultra terrestrial, as I believe the Glimmer Man is. And as time goes on and new things are being reported and seen, I truly believe that uh, theories and speculation is going to continue to increase as to what these really are. And look, 25 years ago, people weren't talking much about the woo factor as far as interdimensional and other types of things as to why we're not getting bodies, evidence, and so forth and so on. But that's changing. Many more people are coming forward, even investigators who were very dead set on these beings being indigenous, being part of our earth plane, being part of our nature. But they're starting to change the way they feel about it overall. And I think as time goes on, we're going to find more connections with other phenomena that people experience, let alone something that's not of this world.
The lady mentioned about feeling unsettled
Hmm.
when she saw this, and even in her house in the basement during the second encounter.
Hmm.
I could understand that. That would be a natural reaction to any one of us having an encounter like that. But does this creature give off an ominous presence, like a paranormal demon or a very dark or bad spirit that knows its power and knows how to intimidate us on this side of the ledger?
That's going to leak in sometimes. Now, this woman in particular, she was Mennonite. She was very religious. And she had not heard of any type of phenomena like that. But, and she had a lot of questions, of course. But I think it is intimidating to some people, or to most people, actually, who aren't aware of some of the things that people are seeing in the world. There are just so many questions out there, and so many, you know, there is a lot of conjecture, and there's a lot of theory as to what people are seeing or what we're investigating. But the only thing we can do is just to continue on doing what we're doing and try to put these in categories as to how to explain it. We're not at that point yet. We have a lot long way to go for that. But honestly, I think we are getting closer to that. So who knows? Who knows what's going to pop up in the next 10, 20, 30 years from now?
10 seconds. None of these Glimmer Men have ever attacked anybody that we know of yet.
Not that we know of, no.
Weird. Lon Strickler's Strange Days happens at the end of each month here on Spaced Out Radio. We love it when Lon is with us. Hour 2, more stories and questions from you, the audience, on Spaced Out Radio. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Lon, we're clear. We're going to play a video here, okay?
Okay, I'll be right back.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. and let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush-era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten, the 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, we are back. Area 51, how you doing? Nice to see you tonight. Who else has jumped in here? First Contact, how you doing? Nice to have you here. We'll get Lon back here in a second. He accidentally logged himself out. We know he'll jump back in. And we got 15 seconds. And hope everything's all right over there. Dunzel, you doing good? Good. Here we go. Here comes the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us as we hang on out with Lon Strickler from phantomsofmonsters.com, and we're so glad to have Lon with us. But before we bring Lon back on, we want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Unicity. Unicity is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in Lon Strickler from phantomsofmonsters.com, hanging on out with us as we talk more monsters and legends. We got into the Glimmer Man in the last half hour, and now we're going to get into something a little bit more. So here's another story from Lon Strickler's phantomsofmonsters.com. A lifelong New Mexico resident contacted Lon about a disturbing encounter outside his third-floor apartment in northern Albuquerque. Although the area was heavily developed and busy, the witness believed the creature may have been connected to the skinwalker phenomena. The witness stated, "I grew up in New Mexico and have heard stories about skinwalkers my entire life. I have always found the subject creepy but fascinating, and I admit that I talk about them often. One of my Navajo friends has repeatedly warned me not to discuss skinwalkers. Whether or whenever I bring up the subject, he becomes uncomfortable and usually leaves the room. He has always told me that talking about them can attract their attention. At the time of the incident, I lived in a third-floor apartment in northern Albuquerque. It was a busy area with restaurants, businesses, and a shopping mall along a nearby highway. One night, at approximately 1 a.m, I was alone watching Netflix and eating cereal when I heard a dog barking outside. Dogs were allowed in the apartment complex, so the barking was not unusual. However, the barking sounded wrong. It was distorted and muffled, almost as if the animal were barking underwater. I stepped onto my balcony and looked down into the grassy courtyard. The area was dimly illuminated by old yellow lights. That's when I saw the animal. It looked like an enormous dog, possibly the size of a Caucasian mountain dog. I could not see any details because of the poor lighting, but it was extremely large, heavily furred, and seemed to be facing directly toward me. The moment I stepped onto the balcony, the barking stopped. I stared down at it, and I had a strong impression that it was staring back at me. We remained like that for approximately 2 minutes. Then a car on a nearby highway sounded its horn. The animal suddenly stood upright on its hind legs and sprinted toward a small arroyo near the apartment complex. It did not simply rear up like a normal dog. It stood and ran away on 2 legs. I was terrified. My first thought was I had witnessed a skinwalker. What disturbed me most was the location. I'd always associated skinwalker stories with remote desert areas, reservation land, and isolated roads. I'd never heard of one appearing in a busy part of Albuquerque. Afterward, I kept thinking about my Navajo's warning. He had always told me that discussing skinwalkers could attract them. Now, I cannot stop wondering whether my interest in the subject somehow brought me this thing to me. The encounter is notable because the creature's abnormal barking, its enormous size, and its apparent ability to run upright on 2 legs. This is Lon now. The urban location is also unusual, although the nearby arroyo may have provided a concealed route through the developed area. The term skinwalker has a specific cultural meaning with Navajo tradition. Not every upright canine or unexplained animal should automatically be placed in that category. However, Lon has personally been told by several members of the Navajo Nation that repeatedly discussing skinwalkers can draw their attention or increase the possibility of an encounter. Whether or not that belief explains this incident, the witness's concern is consistent with the traditional lore surrounding the phenomena. The witness remains convinced that what he observed was not an ordinary dog. Lon, that's kind of creepy when these things start moving to the inner city.
Well, Albuquerque is one of those places where we got a lot of weird things that occur. For whatever reason. Of course, it's got the Sandia reputation and, other ufology and extraterrestrial stories that have come from the area. But we do get a lot of cryptid sightings around there as well. And we do get some of them in the city. And I don't know what he saw. I do believe he saw a cryptid canine. I don't think it was a skinwalker. Every time, like it said, a lot of times when people see something that resembles a canine, the first thing you think is skinwalker because of tradition. But also, what I stated there, as far as mentioning it, I hear that anytime I have interviewed someone of Navajo descent, that's the first thing they tell me for the most part. The more you talk about it, the more it's going to pop up. So I don't know if that's true or not, but many of them believe that. So, I think this was an actual cryptid canine of some sort.
Oh, goodness. Goodness. Have cryptid canines been seen in Albuquerque before?
Yeah, all right, they have.
Even in suburban locations?
Yeah. Yeah, they have.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, there's we've had cryptid canines seen in urban, not necessarily urban, but residential areas before. Now this part of Albuquerque was kind of, I guess there was several apartment complexes in the area that were adjacent to the desert, so it could have easily gone in there.
The idea that this creature was having a muffled sound barking, almost like it was underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been normal with other cryptid canine sightings?
That's unusual. That's unusual. I mean, you do people do experience particularly some type of muffled growling sounds. And the barking is just not what they're used to hearing. It's a different type of yipping or type of sound. Though sometimes it can get really deep and loud and just really carry. So I don't know exactly what he heard or what they heard, but with what information they did give me, I believe it was a cryptid canine of some sort.
Oh, goodness. Goodness. And what about the type of dog he said that it looked like a Caucasian mountain dog? I mean, those dogs are pretty big and hairy, whereas, cryptid canines I always thought were more of a lighter type fur.
Yeah, occasion we'll get one where they really look like a huge dog. Not necessarily muscular, but just like a huge dog that is able to stand up on its hind legs and to move very quickly. I can't explain it. I mean, when I did see Caucasian mountain dog, that was unusual because I don't think I've ever heard that before. So yeah, I don't know what he saw.
The way it took off, I mean, it doesn't sound like it took off fast, but not very slowly either.
Yeah,
I mean, was that out of the ordinary or was that very much the same?
that's usually the way they move.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. In your estimate, why would you say that it's probably not a skinwalker when this guy seemed to believe it was?
Um, the skinwalkers, you don't normally see that in a residential area. Now, of course, if they're following somebody and it takes them to that, maybe so. Of course, he thought, well, maybe I kept thinking about it or talking about it, and it manifested itself. That's not normally a way the whole thing works. Of course, a skinwalker is really, by lore, a shape-shifting human, a witch, something supernatural. It's not just an animal; it's a transformed human, and usually the intent is not good. It's some type, either curse or some type of revenge type of thing. I don't. That's why I don't think that's what this was. And honestly, I get very few, if any. I'm just trying to think. Sightings in residential areas other than on the reservations.
How often are you having skinwalker reports?
Not very often. Not very often. And the older folks in the res won't talk about it. Occasionally, a younger member of the family will either relay a story told to them, or they will see something and they will come forward. To the chagrin of the older folks, because they just don't like talking about it, and they don't like the kids talking about it either. But some of them have experienced it and have seen them literally, shut off an area or surround a house, or scare the living daylights out who's in the house. Most of the times, people who are in a residence, a Hogan or whatever, experience this thing from the outside. Very rarely will it get inside. They'll get on the roof or get in a surrounding and walk around and just scare the bejesus out of everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty intense with that, Lon.
Yeah.
As we continue on with Lon Strickler from phantomsandmonsters.com here on Spaced Out Radio. For people who may not understand what a skinwalker is, why should you not mention the name or even really give it any attention?
I don't necessarily believe in that. That's just part of what they believe. The Navajo religion. Not to, and I think others. Other tribes do the same. They don't like to talk about it, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a strange phenomenon. I mean, people see these things like when they're on the highway and they see these things keeping up with a vehicle, either in human form or other type of animal form. They seem to have incredible speed at some point. They have the ability to shape shift in front of people and just to disappear quickly, or even to manifest quickly. It's almost like it almost acts like a spirit, a manifesting spirit, but it's something different. It's something with intent, and the intent isn't good for the most part.
All right, let's get to another story here, Lon.
Mhm.
Let's get to this one here. In June 2019, a Missouri woman was driving near Joplin during unsettled storm conditions when something massive passed directly over her vehicle. What she saw was not a bird, not a bat, and definitely not an aircraft, but a huge winged humanoid whose presence seemed to affect her state of mind before the shock finally caught up with her miles down the road. The location is specifically significant because Joplin already carries one of the strangest modern winged humanoid being traditions in America, the so-called butterfly people. Accounts reported after the devastating May 22nd, 2011 EF5 tornado. Here's the letter. Hi, Mr. Strickler. My name is BB. I am writing you from the southwest part of Missouri in the Ozarks. I wanted to report a flying humanoid sighting. I actually feel guilty for only reaching out now because my sighting happened almost a year ago in June 2019. The encounter took place near Joplin, Missouri, while I was driving from Springfield to Kansas City. Normally, when I make that drive, I go straight up Highway 13 through Boulevard and Clinton. But on this particular night, there were tornado warnings in the area, and my stepfather told me I should go through Joplin instead. The approximate time was somewhere between 7 and 8 p.m. It was not dark yet. Around that time of year, it usually doesn't get dark until 8:30 or 9. The tornadoes were not directly along my route, but they were scattered thunderstorms. At the time of my sighting, it was between one storm and just before another one moved in. I mentioned the storm activity for two reasons. First, I have a feeling there may be a correlation between the electrical charge of a thunderstorm and the ability to see this creature. I do not know why I suspect that, but I do. Second, while it was not dark outside, the sky was gray and heavy because of the weather. At the time, I was driving a 2005 Chevy Blazer, the two-door model with the S10 body style. I mentioned that because I used my vehicle's size to estimate the creature's size. I was driving down the highway at a slower speed than posted 70 miles per hour limit because the road was wet. If I had to guess, I was going around 50 to 55. I did not see the creature until it was almost directly over me. I referred to it as a he because that is the feeling I got. The creature flew over me, perpendicular to my direction of travel, then moved off to my right toward the wooded area beside the highway. It was so close above my vehicle that I could clearly see the texture of its wings through my driver's side window and through the sunroof. The sunroof was closed, obviously, but I had the shade pulled back, so I was looking straight up through the glass. I do not remember seeing any arms or feet. I also did not see the head with my physical eyes. The only part of the body I saw besides the wings was a small area of the torso. I would guess it was somewhere above where the navel would be, if it had one, and below the pectoral area. I did not see anything resembling human nipples or ordinary human anatomy. The wingspan had to be between 12 and 16 feet. I'm not great with measurements, but this thing could easily have had the tip of one wing on the ground in front of my vehicle and the other tip on the ground behind it, if my vehicle had been parked and the creature not flying. That is how large it seemed. It was if my entire car was briefly enveloped by its wings. The moment lasted only a split second, and I heard no sound. That part seems strange to me because of how close it was. I also find it odd that I do not remember seeing more of its body. But the most interesting part of the encounter was the control it seemed to have over my state of mind. While it was happening, I was not scared. I was completely calm. Not calm in a soothed or comforted way, but calm as if I were simply looking at a field of cows rather than a huge creature supposedly not supposed to exist in our dimension. I mentioned that I did not physically see the head, but shortly after it passed over me, an image of its head appeared in my mind. It was as if the creature planted that image there. So I know I saw the wings with my real sober eyes, but the head, I believe, was shown to me mentally, almost like some form of telepathy or control. I remained unaffected by the sighting until I had driven another 30 to 50 miles down the road. That is when the shock hit me. That was when the holy crap and what was that reaction started. I called my boyfriend and told him what happened. I also called my friend Kelly. Neither of them had any trouble believing me since I have had strange experiences before. I somehow seem to be a magnet for unusual events, and many times there have been other witnesses with me. I am a contactee. Apart from the aliens I saw and recorded during my 2013 encounter, the only other humanoid or cryptid type being that I have seen was a glimmer man until this encounter near Joplin. Farther down the road, I pulled over to see whether or not anyone else in the area had reported anything similar. I did not want to describe what I saw in my search because I did not want to influence the results, so I simply searched cryptid sightings near Joplin, Missouri. That search brought up a number of articles about children seeing what they described as butterfly people who protected them from the rubble during the devastating 2011 tornado that destroyed much of Joplin. Sketches have been made from the children's descriptions, but they did not exactly match what I had seen. However, on the second or third page of Google results, I found another sketch, apparently drawn by someone back in 2003. That description seemed to match what I saw as closely as possible. To my memory, the sketch had a less leathery look to the body, but what caught my attention was the way the head was drawn. It matched the image of the head that I believe the creature gave me telepathically. I wanted to make one distinction in this creature's defense. I was never terrified, even after the encounter, once I realized what had happened. I got absolutely no evil or demonic feeling from it. Over time, I have learned to trust my intuition involving supernatural experiences, and this did not feel malevolent. I mention that because some winged humanoid reports describe people screaming, being traumatized, or being called a demon, or calling the being a demon. Perhaps those people are seeing something different than what I saw, or perhaps they simply have not had to cope with other paranormal or worldview shattering experiences before, and therefore feel more threatened. It did not occur to me to reach out when this thing happened because I'd never reported my experiences before this year. I think I'm finally sharing them because so many strange things have happened recently that they are starting to outnumber my normal experiences. They're becoming harder to ignore. I have heard of your work through many platforms. By the way, I believe Joplin is about 8 or 9 hours from Chicago. I could be mistaken, but I have never driven from Joplin to Chicago. Thank you for safeguarding everyone's encounters. Maybe I'll get to hear back from you. All the best, BB. Your thoughts, Lon?
Well, I don't think it was the butterfly people that from 2011, though I have received a lot of confirmation of that phenomena people saw. I have talked to three of the actual witnesses from that who described it very similar to what people had seen at Point Pleasant. Now, her encounter, I believe, may have been a winged being, a winged humanoid of some type. Though the storm thing kind of makes you start thinking, well, maybe it was a thunderbird or something like that from, indigenous lore. I don't know. I did talk to her. I have received a lot of bizarre winged cryptid sightings in that part of Missouri, southwest Missouri, for years, and even up into Kansas City.
Hold that thought, Lon. We're going to go to
Okay.
break here. Lon Strickler, we got him for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. That was an interesting encounter, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk more about it when we get back.
Yeah, it was interesting. But the actual people that experienced during the tornado, whatever those things were, maybe they were angels. I don't know, or something, but it seemed to protect them. And most of those people thought, even though they were young, do believe that they were protected from any debris and such at that school in particular. So, yeah, I'm probably going to do a deep dive someday into that whole thing. It does fascinate me.
That's very interesting to see that play out. I don't know if I would want to encounter something like that. I really don't. I don't know why, but there's just certain things that scare the hell out of me, and that is definitely one of them. It's like a dog man. I just don't want to experience a dog man. I really don't.
Well, look, I had an encounter with a winged humanoid back in 1988, and it scared the living crap out of me. Though, as I calmed down, I wanted to see it again. So I don't know. Maybe the wishful thinking kind of came into the whole thing where I start getting all this stuff from Chicago and everywhere else. But Missouri has been a hot spot for winged humanoids.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know. But I've had reports from all over the state, east and west, north and south. I mean, into the Ozarks, the whole way up into Kansas City, and even over into St. Louis and along the Mississippi. I have had several winged humanoid sightings, even regular cryptid bird sightings, pterosaurs and such. So, yeah, Missouri is one of those states that does have a lot going on for it, with it, because let alone the UFO sightings and everything. Jeez.
Right.
They had the the winged humanoid flap almost coincided with what happened in Chicago around the same time period. I think around 2018 up into 2022, maybe. I occasionally still get something, from Missouri. So I haven't really talked about it a lot because I wasn't involved in any investigations personally, but I did talk to a lot of witnesses.
At about 90 seconds, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good times here, man. Good times.
Damn, my internet went out during the break last time. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had to reboot it. I mean, it just completely went out. So I don't know if I did something or what happened, but
Weird.
yeah, it happens.
Thank you tonight to Walter, T-Bone, la 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 la, right, and Little Cam for the super chats. Great way to support what we do. Thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up. It helps with our YouTube algorithms. Don't forget, after the show, we'd love to get your opinion on your favorite monster. By the way, let's do a little count here. Bigfoot is leading 55%, Dogman 14%, Mothman 8%, others 23%. So there you go. Let's see here. Bob Marley, how you doing? We're into the second half of Spaced Out Radio. I'm so glad you're all tuned in for Lon Strickler's phantomsandmonsters.com because he is such a great interview. My name is Dave Scott. This is Spaced Out Radio. And let's kick things off. Lon, we were just talking about these winged humanoid creatures here that you have an affinity for. You know, you feel very close to them, and you know, probably had one or two over for dinner at some point, I'm sure. You know, but a lot of people will look at this and they'll say, I never want to see a giant human-sized bat. I don't want to see that. And yet this lady was very quick to point out that there was no ominous feelings. You know, going back to Point Pleasant and the Mothman, there was a lot of ominous feelings there.
Yeah. You know, when I talked to her, she seemed like it was divine of some, not necessarily angel, but it was divine. She was supposed to see it somehow. That's the impression that she got. I mean, she was shook up, but I think she believed that it came to her for a reason. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Like I told you in the break, there have been a lot of winged humanoid and other type of winged cryptid sightings in Missouri for quite a long time. Now, the Chicago sightings and the sightings throughout Missouri kind of coincided with each other, maybe within a year or two apart. And I still do get a lot of sightings from Missouri. Missouri in general has a lot of phenomena that happens, let alone Bigfoot and UFOs and such. So, yeah, it's an interesting state. And, you know, some of the stories that come out of there make you think, let alone being in the Ozarks South, I mean, in southern part into Arkansas. I mean, there's a lot of stories that have come out of there over the years. So, yeah.
All right. Let's get to a few questions here. They are building up.
Okay.
Lon, do you think Glimmerman is connected to Sasquatch, or is this something completely different? For example, the cloaking sightings of Bigfoot.
I think Bigfoot does have or may have an ability to cloak. I think it does have that supernatural ability to do that. Even though some people think it has a natural ability to do that. I mean, you know, a trick of light. Some people talk about the hair being so hollow and that refracts light in a certain way that it kind of uses for cloaking. But as far as the Glimmer Man goes, I don't think there really is a connection. I think this is something entirely different, though it may be connected in some supernatural way. I think this is something different. I think it is ultra terrestrial. I think it may have something to do with interdimensional beings, but more so with otherworldly beings as opposed to cryptid sightings.
What other worldly beings would that be?
Alien, extraterrestrial, EBEs, something that can possibly move through portals. And I have become more convinced ever since the investigations in Chicago, because I believe those winged humanoids in Chicago are basically the same thing. I think they're ultra terrestrials, and I just think that there's something different about them, and the way they manifest and vanish and so forth and so on. And it's something that we just don't understand, but I think we're on the right track. And until I see something different or hear something different, my mind isn't going to change on that.
All right, let's get to another question here. Has the Glimmer Man ever been seen to hold a solid form uncloaked?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of, unless it was uncloaked and appeared to be a normal being or something that seemed normal, and they didn't know it was a Glimmer Man, or it was something that can cloak itself like the Glimmer Man. But as far as seeing it actually manifest or change or into something with that type of phenomena, I don't believe we had that yet.
In combining the last two questions, I do want to ask a question about Sasquatch, because many people believe that Sasquatch also has the ability to cloak itself as well. What is the difference between what people are seeing with a Glimmer Man and a cloaked Sasquatch?
I just don't think that a Sasquatch can cloak using the same technique or same, maybe they use a device or same means that the Glimmer Man does. I just think it's an entirely different type of phenomena. Now, I was open to that possibly being true a while back, but as time has gone on and we have done more and more research into the Glimmer Man phenomena, I'm thinking more and more that it's something different.
But people still see a cloaked figure that, kind of has that watered down, pixelated look.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're the same being. That's just the way I perceive it to be. I may very well be wrong, but I think Bigfoot in its natural form has an ability to cloak itself, but not by the means that these Glimmer Men do.
All right, let's get to another question here. Claiming that cryptids are interdimensional, is that an excuse for the lack of explanation?
It's just a theory. Yeah, you hear more and more people talk about interdimensional or ultra terrestrial, and because we're not finding bodies or finding evidence like we should, if this was a natural creature, it does seem like a cop out. But I was never really steadfast on the whole interdimensional thing until I started working with the Chicago winged humanoid phenomena, and more that I believe there's something to it. I think that they do have an ability to move in and out of portals from other dimensions, other realms and such, while keeping form. And that's a technology we just don't understand as of yet.
Do you think then that many people today, and I'm going to word this carefully because I don't want to insult people in our community,
Mhm.
People in our community are very fast to use trendy terms and words. Right now, it's interdimensional, it's ultra terrestrial, it's extra tempestural, it's, unique. And I think people are very quick to move the line for any creature into one of those categories. Could this be happening with Glimmerman?
I don't know. Ronnie LeBlanc just wrote a book called Interdimensional about the supernatural prospects of Bigfoot and its ability to move in and out using whatever means it can. I mean, and I want to talk to him about that at some point. But there have been other authors and other experiencers that have said the same thing. Just like Mike Cleland had talked about the owls being a representative of alien activity or extraterrestrial activity and communicating with humans, and which I have experienced myself. So I know that to be true. Now, is it actually aliens? I believe it is because of what I endured after my wife passed, and some of the experiences I had. But I think it's very similar to what's going on now with the cryptids as well. I think interdimensional is a term that is being used more and more, but I think people are giving it for the most part more relevance as to why this may be happening. And as more investigations continue on and more information comes out there from witnesses and experiencers, I think it's going to continue in that direction to where we, are going to speculate much more than we have and continue on to speculate and use more conjecture without real evidence until evidence is actually found. And I don't have any problem with that. Look, if we didn't have theories, the paranormal world would be kind of boring anyway. So I have no problem with that. Sure, I want to find the truth, but I also want to be able to think outside the box and keep an open mind about things.
Let's continue on. Let's go next to First Contact. Lon, what's the best method to attract these creatures?
You talking about
any of them?
Any of them?
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say don't go out there looking for them because they don't normally seem to want to be around people with intention to find them. I'd say 99.9% of the sightings are circumstantial. I mean, they just happen. There's no real way of attracting any of these creatures. If they want to show themselves to you, they'll show themselves. If they happen to be, if you happen to be at the right spot at the right time, all the power to you. I just hope you see it well to get a good idea of what you're looking at and perceive what you believe it is, and then have the fortitude to report it somehow. But no, there's no way of actually going out there and attract them, even though people that go on Bigfoot hunts and Squatch hunts and all of that, I mean, that's what they like to do. Fine. That's what they do. I'm not really a person that am looking for these things. If something happens to come my way, or I happen to perceive something at some point, then I'll be grateful for that and continue on. But looking for it in general or in particular, nah, I don't think there's any way of doing it.
Lon Strickler from phantomsofmonsters.com is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Another question. How many people who have reported these cryptid sightings and other phenomena claim to be conduits or contactees? Is this a trend?
I have seen it in some cases where people do believe that they were part of an agenda. They were meant to be in contact with these beings. Not a lot, but some. I guess it just depends on how the person thinks and what they believe in and what they're willing to believe in. And if they believe their perception was real and just not some type of mirage of some type or whatever you want to say it is. But many people, especially people who are contactees with alien beings or supposed alien beings, otherworldly beings, even spirits and such. I think they believe that many of them believe that there was a reason for it, and they may be part of the answer. I think that's why people come forward. I think they believe that, and we're there to help and to listen to them and to give them any advice that they seek. But it does happen. Some people do believe they are conduits, which is a good word. That they're part of the story, and they're part of the reason why they had the encounter.
Here we go with another question. Besides maybe the two biggest flying gargoyle sightings in 1986, NASA building, and other various sightings in 2004 in Chile, what are sightings we nearly don't hear enough of but should, Lon?
I think at this point, most of the sightings of relevance are coming forward. But I know for a fact that a lot of them aren't. I mean, there are, just like, again, I go back to Chicago. I mean, how many people actually saw something and never reported it? I mean, especially with all the sightings that we do believe were valid sightings. I mean, 186 at this point. I mean, how many thousands of sightings are out there? Anywhere. So I can't necessarily say other sightings that we just haven't heard about until something comes forward to where we can look into it. And believe me, if I get information that I think is truthful, that the experiencer believes was perceived by them, something they experienced, they believe intently that they experienced, and they don't embellish on it, I'm going to look into it. So, but sure, there's a lot of stuff out there we haven't heard about at all. That's why we do what we do.
Definitely why we do what we do. That is for sure. Lon, have you ever seen a dogman or a skinwalker?
No, I haven't. Don't think I want to either.
No?
Maybe at a distance, but I don't want to be close to it.
Me either. Me either. All right, let's continue on. Has anyone ever photographed or filmed the Glimmer Man in thermal?
Not in thermal that I know of, but I have seen a few examples of the actual cloaking phenomena. Maybe not necessarily in a humanoid form, but I have seen the glassine like heat wave type of phenomena that people describe. But it's interesting. I mean, it is very interesting, and hopefully people will continue to get better at capturing these beings in an image. With AI and everything else nowadays, it's hard to even distinguish how much of it is real or not. But many times the story itself can kind of, show that it wasn't something that was manipulated. But I have been lucky enough to see several of them in the past.
All right, let's continue on. What is the man that appeared to be in all black with a black hat? I freaked out because it touched my shoulder. That sounds like a hat man or a slender man, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like a shadow being or a hat man being. There's a lot of theories about that. I believe there's some type of otherworldly being. How they get here, why they get here. I think when they are here, they find ways of existing. Basically, they go to a location where they can process negative energy into something they feed off of, and the situation is not very good most times. They seem to be very dangerous entities. I have been involved with a couple of cases of that over the years, and it's not one of those things where you can go in and just move it somewhere else to another level or just move it out of the residence. Those things, you got to take away the dysfunction and the negative energy from the living and to force those things to move on to another location. It might be your neighbor it goes to, but if it's not in your house, then the better, But I do believe there's some type of non-terrestrial being of some type.
Yeah, to me that sounds like a shadow man or a hat man, something like that. I just don't give it attention. That's my best advice. And they always seem to come around. I remember Art Bell saying this one night. These creatures always seem to come around when people are at their lowest and darkest moments in life. Depression, anxiety, maybe a relationship broke up,
Mhm.
Your spouse took off with the kids, whatever it may be. That's when this really seems to hit.
That has been my experience dealing with experiencers like that. There's always something that can kind of correlate to why these things are showing up, and they're not good. But the living have to change their ways for these things to move on.
Right. One final question for you, Lon. Michelle is asking, what are some good search words that will lead to results when requesting FOIAs for cryptids?
I don't know if there are any specific search terms. I think a good way of doing that nowadays is to use AI in that capacity. But when you do that, make sure the explanation provided to you makes sense. Because or find a FOIA request and use the same type of nomenclature that the person has used on an actual request. There is an art to filing FOIA request, and if it seems too spectacular, many times they'll just say, "Well, we have no information." But I have filed many in my time, and it's not the easiest thing to do. I don't say I'm an expert at it, but I think if you want results, you gotta put the information out there the best you can, and don't make it seem too ridiculous. I would search into AI and see what it suggests to you as far as writing one up, because the rules change a lot. I know I have written a lot of them to the FAA for sightings at O'Hara over the years and other places, and they come back pretty quickly without. We have no information. We haven't heard anything about that. We don't know anything about that. So,
well, Lon,
Yep.
It's that time where we got to wrap things up here. We'll talk to you next month on Strange Days here at phantomsandmonsters.com. You can find all of Lon's books. You can find everything that he does because he's just that darn good. Coming up next in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller joins us for another creepy story. We'll follow that up with Nicole Sackage taking in the UFO report. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great job tonight, Lon. Thank you very much.
Okay. And I'll get back to you about bringing you on too. And,
okay.
Anything else comes up, let me know.
Sounds good, buddy. Talk soon.
Take care. Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, as we prepare for our next hour, the lovely haired Nicole Sakich is getting ready. She's in the hot seat. We're ready to bring her on right now. There she is, taking a bit. Holy cow, that cup's the size of your head.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Bigfoot Fades, how are you? Swamp Dweller will be about 2 minutes, 25 seconds. And then we're going to launch right into it. Hi, Nicole. You're number one.
Hi, Dave. I'm loving the hair tonight. What's up?
It's my campfire. If you smelled my basement smells like campfire. I don't like it. All right. Thank you, T-Bone, Lala, Walter, and Cam for the super chats. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We are in a great position here to entertain you for the next 60 minutes, and thank you for joining us wherever you are, especially if you're listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Unicity. Unicity is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp.
All right, let's get to Swampy.
When I was 8, maybe even 7, I had a disturbing encounter with some creature or entity. I lived in the Appalachian mountain range of Pennsylvania. It was November, around when daylight saving time occurred. I remember it was supposed to be a school day, but since the snow was so heavy, the buses were not able to drive out in the morning, so school was canceled for a snow day. I was so excited to spend the rest of the day outside in the snow. We had an acre of property, going quite far back into the woods. I was walking deep into the forest to a small frozen pond past my property line. Suddenly, the woods were dead silent. No birds, no wildlife scurrying around, absolutely nothing. I remember thinking it was strange, but kept walking. I really wanted to make it to the pond. I should have turned right then and there, but I was just a naive little kid. After I reached the pond, everything was still completely silent, and the hairs on the back of my neck felt like they were rising, I started to feel frightened, but I didn't exactly know why. I felt like something bad was going to happen to me if I didn't leave at that exact moment, so I decided to run back home. As I arrived back at my yard, I realized it was so late. The sun was setting. My mom was running outside asking where I was literally all day. And to never disappear ever like that again. Nothing of this ever made sense to me. I had only been outside for about 20 minutes. I left my house with my snow gear on at around 10 a.m., right after getting the snow day call. It was almost 8 p.m., meaning I had been gone for around 10 hours. I have no idea how I'd been gone for such a long amount of time. I remember only being out there for just a few minutes. I don't know if this was some sort of creature encounter. I've heard of a lot of lost time being attributed to being hypnotized or just being in the presence of these skinwalkers or Wendigo type creatures. Has anyone else ever had this happen to them? Was it some type of creature? I didn't see anything while there at all. I don't think I lost track of time, and I definitely didn't fall and hit my head or anything. What do you think happened? Please let me know in the comments below.
Thank you, Swampy, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to, and just a couple nights' time as well. Swamp Dweller will be joining us as a guest on this show. We love it when Swampy's here. Now, let's bring in Nicole. You know what, Nicole? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to spend some time this week and build you a theme song.
Oh, do I get a fill-in theme song?
Yeah, you need a theme song. You do.
All right. I'll let you do that. It'll be wonderful.
So the big UFO news coming down today was this weird video put out on X at White House. And I really don't know what to think of it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little perplexed because to me, it has shades of the lead up to aliens.gov. I don't know if you saw this or not, but it is very weird. And let's just give it a little play here. And what it is it's Donald Trump's favorite things, Diet Coke, his MAGA hats, and then all of a sudden there's a UFO flying over the White House with him and JD Vance running in the background, police picking up aliens, Artemis rocket, along with politicians who are actually robots, and then some flying monster shooting fire at Trump and Vance as they're flying away in a UFO. And I really don't understand what this is all about. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
It's like the opening to a cartoon. What is it? It's one of the popular ones.
We're getting a little bit of feedback. I'll get you to move a little bit closer to your mic if you don't mind.
I can't think of the name of the cartoon, but it opens just like a cartoon that was on Netflix.
I'm
And
really hoping that this isn't another play on the whole situation. And yeah, it's like Rick and Morty, the cartoon.
Yeah. And I was thinking of another one. I forget the name of it, but Rick and Morty as well. And that came out on the whitehouse.gov. What?
No, it came out on their X account.
Oh. On True Social, was it on there too?
Probably.
Okay. So, and that was it. They just posted that.
It was just this weird cartoon. And you know what? We kind of got, and I'll be honest with you, and I know you were very upset when aliens.gov came out because they made it play that this is where the UFO release was going to be, that this was all about, we were going to get somewhere. They built it up for weeks. And then we find out that it has everything to do with illegal aliens and not actual aliens coming from space, extraterrestrials, ultra-terrestrials, and your favorite word and mine, extratempestrals. Okay. I mean, I often wonder if this is just some sort of game and if this video is leading to another game of human beings rather than and using ETs as the or aliens rather as the sidebar to it. I don't know. It just isn't sitting well with me. What's your thoughts?
Without more context, I mean, it's not sitting well with me either. And right, I didn't like the one you mentioned before, just because it was confusing. I mean, there was some, yes, our filed tranches are going to be released there, which was really strange. We questioned why make a new website when we already have one available. But then, of course, they did it anyways. And then it did turn out to be that. So, I mean, until they come out and they say what the purpose of this was, I mean, right now, my first thought is, why are they wasting their time making this thing? Like, what's the point? What are they advertising here? What are they trying to get behind or stir up talk about? Was that directed at our community, UFO Loonland here? I don't know.
Well, it could very well be. It could very well be in regards to that, and let's just hope. I'm really hoping that we're going to see something a little bit different this time, because realistically, the video just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But we're moving on here because this one's a little bit more interesting. Piers Morgan over in the UK interviewed TV psychologist Dr. Phil McGraw, better known as Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil basically said that he was invited to the White House to view the latest collection of disclosure files before it reached the public. And he is accusing the U.S. government of 79 years of misinformation since 1947, and basically says there's something out there. He's fully convinced that the government is hiding something and that he wants to get to the bottom of it. What do you think? I know we talked a little bit about Dr. Phil last week when you were on, but I'm very curious what you think about this story and Dr. Phil becoming the face of ufology over this.
Where was he at? You said Piers Morgan?
He was on with Piers Morgan, yes.
That's a UK show?
Yes.
Well, has disclosure moved to the UK? I mean, is that the push? I mean, I said last week, I think disclosure is kind of over here and we're in like the last throes of it, or maybe we're going to see some permanence with the White House Council and the governance board and these steady release of tranches. Like, is that our disclosure? So are they now going to focus their attention across the pond? Like, hey, the US has done this. Now it's the UK's turn. And so, yeah, our new spokesperson, Dr. Phil, is over there.
Here's the thing, though. Tyler Rogoway, who has been involved in the UFO story for a long time, especially on X, he posted something that I thought was pertinent. He goes, in tweeting to Dr. Phil and to Piers Morgan, he says, how about you invite some actual experts for the VIP review of this stuff? What does Dr. Phil know about advanced physics, military technology, sensors, etc.? But I think, people in the UFO community are getting tired of other people, and let's call them celebrities, because that's what he is, coming in and being insta experts in this field. We saw it with Tom DeLonge. We saw it with Demi Lovato, Keisha, or however you pronounce her name with the $ instead of an S. And, Dr. Phil and many others. I mean, even going back, we can't refute that way back in the day, Oprah Winfrey actually used to do a number of shows on these topics, including the Travis Walton story in 1994 when the movie came out. I realize a lot of people want to jump on this bandwagon. You look at Fred Durst. He's wanted to jump on it. Billy Corgan has jumped on it. Many celebrities have, and why not? This topic is for everybody. However, the UFO community, never seems to have their experts on there, the people that we grew up with. And for many, it's a bone of contention when these newfound celebrities are all of a sudden being quoted as experts in this field.
Oh, I can hear them all going, there are no experts in the field, but there are experts in the field. That age-old argument. Celebrity drawing attention to any cause is sort of the point. So, and I don't know, many people do consider Tom DeLonge a sort of an expert. Like, he did his diligence, I think, and motivated behind his wants and needs, or his desire, like what he wanted to do for the community or with the community. But I think that's just the double-edged sword there. We see it even in our longest standing groups like MUFON. We've seen, well, it was essentially a breakaway from MUFON that formed the SCU. And then each chapter of MUFON is even different state to state. And there's that argument of nuts and bolts, or should it be more like what we call the woo? And if it is the woo, how do you explore the woo and collect woo data? Can you still do that scientifically, or does that just leave you in like a spiritual realm or a social sciences realm or a psychology? So yeah, I think maybe we're just seeing a little bit of that. The celebrity interest, I think, is a good thing. It raises awareness to the topic. And I mean, I think we need to see people of all walks of life continuing to share their stories and talk about this. And I do think people are fed up with the usual talking heads because they're over promising and they're not delivering. So, yeah. What experts do you mean, or do they mean, when they should bring in the UFO experts? Do they mean the historians like Richard Dolan, or an expert like Don Schmidt? Or are they talking about experts like Gary Nolan or Hal Puthoff, or, Elizondo, Grush? Who's your expert? Grant?
It's amazing, though, how the new U-apology really ignores the people who have been doing this and looking into this on an independent level with high quality research for a number of years, if not decades. I mean, you bring up Grant Cameron, you bring up Richard Dolan, even going back to the late Stanton Friedman. I mean, if Friedman was alive today, I would hope that his face would be all over this field regarding it, because he was a brilliant researcher. He could talk the science and the nuts and bolts with the best of them as a nuclear physicist. And I guess where I'm going with this, and I'm wondering, are people missing the days, or starting to miss the days of pre-U-apology, and missing the ufology days where the research seemed a lot more raw, but it seemed a lot more honest and credible?
I know in certain groups we talk about how we miss the ufology of the 90s, like the late 90s. It seemed to be an exciting time. Maybe before these full-blown disclosure pushes, that sort of thing, where it did seem a little more grassroots. And maybe that's just it in of itself. Maybe the new leadership isn't giving the old school as much credibility as they should. I mean, I'll hammer him because he's Lou Elizondo. He didn't even credit Nick Redfern in his book when he talked about the Collins Elite. So, that's directly from Nick Redfern. That's not from anybody else. So why leave that out? They talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, whether it's these behind the scenes people or the researcher people, but then they never name those giants or give them the credibility that they deserved. So
is it just par for the course?
Well, I think it's because they want to cherry pick and use what everybody else says and not give the credit. They want the credit for themselves. So then the new generation thinks that it's theirs. It's a way of rebooting it. So I don't know.
It is very interesting to see how this has gone from a media standpoint. I mean, I didn't have Dr. Phil on my bingo card regarding this.
No, it's kind of strange, but it's like, okay, did he go back and watch like the Robert Hastings movie, like UFOs and Nukes? Like, I don't know how many books has he read? Who gave him the Dr. Phil crash course to where he feels like he's got a handle on this? Like, I wish maybe he would explain that a little bit. You know, we've heard rumors before, like who is talking to what politicians, you know, what groups of people. Dr. Greer throws in that he puts together his briefings to, you know, everybody from people on the street all the way through to the president or people surrounding the president. We've heard people out of Camp Corbell and Knapp talk about the access they have to certain members of Congress. We were hearing that out of like our old Roswell researchers, you know, a few years ago, but then it seemed like they kind of got edged out as well. So
is that really the point? I mean, going back, as we got about 3 minutes to go to break, I think you brought up a really strong point. Going back to, I think it was 2018 when Lou Elizondo on Medium came out and basically said ufology must die.
Right. And I think that meant the looniest of us. But I don't know. That also shifted my opinion. I know he meant like this, you know, old way of the infighting in ufology, or the idea that we were all drunks or drug users or counterculture weirdos, you know, that idea of ufology must die. But he never really did say his true intention, you know, behind that, except, actions maybe speak louder than words. And I don't really see him as a friend to the community. He came out really strong and then has sequestered himself away. So is that because he didn't like debating and arguing with us? I don't know.
Well, I think for the most part, it's not just him, but everybody from that facet, from the scientists to everybody, has kind of been ignoring the UFO community for a number of years now. And, you know, as Rich Hoffman once said on this show, you know, we're kind of like a bane of their existence. Like he said on this show that he wishes that we would just go away and let the scientists do the work that they need to do.
Right. I remember that. And yeah, I think that's where the experiencer or the abductee or the contactee, however you like to call yourself, I think that's where a line in the sand is drawn for a lot of people. Like I said earlier with MUFON, and you just brought up Hoffman, and that was part of the SCU split. A lot of that, I think, is how loud experiencer people can be. And I think that's because they're passionate about trying to get answers for themselves. So when they feel ignored by a group overall that is supposed to be a part of their community, I think that is where the pushback comes from. But with any, I think, scientific way of thinking, you kind of have to remove that personal element of it. So I think it might sound harsh to the experiencer, but once you give your testimony and kind of say anything that you have to say, like your kind of role in that is over. If you're, going to others for answers. So you need to let them do their thing as well.
Nicole, we're going to get you to hold on right there because we are at our final break of the night. We are going to continue with the UFO report. Nicole Sackage filling in for Grant Baker tonight on the UFO report. And yes, next time Nicole's on in this segment, we will definitely have theme music for her.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Peace.
Are your kittens getting the curtains there?
I don't know. They're moving, right? It's either my cats or Carl.
Somebody trying to break in there right behind you? That'd be kind of creepy.
If I look, like it's gonna like jump up and get me. Oh my God, nothing's there.
Is it on the ledge?
Oh yeah, totally. There it is. There it is. There's a little cat goblin back there.
Little cat goblin. The tallest ones, welcome to SOR chat. Shogun, thank you. I forgot to type in thank you. Thank you for that amazing super chat. Greatly appreciate you. As well as Little Cam, T-Bone, Walter, and La La La. All right. And let me get something. Hi, Wild Ascension. Thank you. Welcome to our chat. I am officially day 8 without any Tim Hortons ice caps or Pepsi. I've drank so much water in the last 8 days. Oh my God. At least I don't have the caffeine hangover headache anymore. Where your neck gets sore and you get crabby and you end up looking like FAP from 40 years ago. A-Cuff, I agree with your sentiment 100%. I loved the UFO subject for 40 years, but it's become boring, and I already know the truth. Sticking to things that could never be true. Bigfoot and cryptids. On out to the forest. Excuse me. Nicole?
Yes.
I'm very surprised you're wearing glasses that have arms on them tonight.
It's because I haven't laid down yet. That was the whole thing. I was actually looking for them. I was like, oh, where's my other glasses? But they're in my bed.
By the way, I don't know if you know yet or not, but your boyfriend is in the chat room right now.
Which one, Dave? I have lots of those.
Oh, your favorite one, Jim Goodall.
Jim, I love you. I miss your sweet face.
He's asking when we're all partying in Vegas again.
Soon.
Yeah. soon.
Or we just need to go to Jim's house and party with him.
Either way, we got to party with Jim Goodall. I'll never forget. You know, one of the happiest moments of my SOR life was at the Little Alien with Jim last year, where he saw his Blackbird photo coming out of the C5 Galaxy at the Little Alien.
Wow. That's fun. I like that place.
He was so happy. He's like, hey, that's my Blackbird. That's my Blackbird. Dave, check this out. That's my Blackbird.
Dave, just to be clear though, Jim is my man friend, not my boyfriend. He's the man friend. You gotta, that's the distinction there.
That's a big difference.
If you say, Nicole, your man friend's in the audience, then I'll know it's Jim.
Okay, I can do that. He is one handsome guy. Love you, Jim Goodall. You're the best.
Gentlemen.
All right. Coming back in 5 seconds. We're into the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in Nicole Sackich, filling in for Grant Baker on the UFO report. Here's an interesting one for you, because I know you're going to love this one. I know, and I personally, I already know your reaction, but I will hope, just hope, that our radio audience will not hear you go on a tirade. No, I'm teasing. I'm absolutely teasing. Okay. A lot of heat going towards Jeremy Corbell recently. Mm-hmm. And that's because over a month ago, Jeremy came out publicly on a podcast or a television show and threatened to release hundreds of UFO files if the government does not release what they know about crash retrievals and alien bodies. He was steadfast about it, playing I don't care what you think. I'm going to release it. I've got the photos. I've got the documents. I've got the videos. Now it's time for you to put up or shut up. Well, now he's saying that, maybe he doesn't have anything to release, that he would not do that, and that he's released everything to the public already. What's your thoughts of this?
Well, the last time we talked about Corbell, it was after he was making news with that interview from the two writers from Playboy, which seemed to focus heavily on drugs and participating in mind-expanding drugs, possibly. So did Jeremy Corbell not remember that he said that and just walked it back? Or did they decide that maybe the way they got these videos could maybe get people in trouble if they didn't release them properly? I mean, if he hasn't given an explanation, there could be several reasons, but I don't know. Don't we always say, or I like to say that, you get the deal, like people come to you, and then I like to put it in perspective as like, you can either be Linda Moulton Howell or you could be Bill Moore. So which version is Jeremy Corbell?
Do you think then, with him threatening to release these videos, that it was just a publicity stunt?
I think he does a lot of things for publicity, or to wind everybody up and weaponize our thoughts or words. it was probably hype, and he probably hyped it a little too much. And I don't know, Dave, is it ever a good idea to threaten your government or try to blackmail them? Like, what is that? What is that move? If you don't do this, I'm going to do this. And they go, okay, do it.
But look, whether we believe Jeremy Corbell's his videos or not, whether he's been given true UFOs or whether he's been given helicopters that have been blurred out, there's been a lot of videos that he has released. In fact, I remember one insider telling me that Jeremy has an insider so deep that he's not sure how he's getting the videos out to the public, that somebody is really putting their career on the line to do that. But others will say that maybe Jeremy is an unknown psyop, that they're using him to try and get anything out that they want to maybe throw the public off.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the argument with all of them right now. Like, are they a willing participant in what they're disclosing or not? Like, that's where that's falls to the comparison between Linda and Bill Moore as well too. So like Linda was shown a whole bunch of information, and what she chose to release or decided to not release at certain times, when she got wrapped up in the documents and what she got to go see, she was even told some of this information might be true, some of it might be misinformation or disinformation. That was part of her deal. So the same could be said for Jeremy Corbell. Like, when he gets this information, how can anybody truly vet it if it's coming from so deep inside? So you're left with that choice. Do you release it or do you not release it? Well, Linda, she released part of her information, and she actually did have a real source when she was releasing information. And that's what got the Doty attention on her, or AFOSI, because they wanted to find her very real source. Like, maybe what she was saying about the information wasn't exactly true, but the information was still leaking out there. So is Corbell in a similar situation now? If he does expose this, is he going to hurt his source on the inside and get him in trouble? Even our latest, like the NDA approval that the president just gave or the White House issued, like, those are still through proper channels. Like, that doesn't say you have this new blanketed agreement where you can go out and tell ufologists all about your NDAs. No, it says you can report it to Arrow and Pursue or members of Congress. So is it a situation like that? And yeah, I don't know. We know AFOSI ran that deal on Linda, and we know Bill Moore made up his MJ12 saga, bird names, took those papers, transformed it into that. So which way is this going to go?
Well, you never know. I mean, for many in the UFO community, because there is so much drama that happens, they're basically saying, this is just typical. This is typical of what we're used to from, the likes of people like Jeremy Corbell, where others are like, you know what? Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he has shown everything, or maybe he got warned. There's all sorts of different scenarios that could play out with this. The only one who could really answer it is Jeremy himself.
True. I mean, I don't think he's ever shied away from saying he thinks he's being messed with or threatened or followed. That whole scenario that seemed a little hysterical a few months back. So if he was being threatened, I think he would step up to the plate and talk about that in very real ways. That goes back to even like, wasn't that the whole premise with Bob Lazar and George Knapp? Like, for him to go public was to protect him. So, I mean, Jeremy, I'd like to believe he's a pretty honest guy. If he got all this stuff in good faith and released it, and it does change the world, then, maybe that's the motivating thing right there. If somebody didn't go through proper channels and is giving him, information that he shouldn't have, or that his source shouldn't have had, then, that's a different story. Like, people can get in trouble for that on many different levels. So I would say maybe some of those sources are like, you don't do anything with it, because I am going to take it through the proper channels now. So I don't know. Didn't he withhold something and put it in this documentary though too? Like, that was this whole like, why? What kind of whistleblowing and disclosure like waits for films and movies and promos and the right time? And
Well, there is all of that too. So I mean, you just never know. You just never know with what's going on. Let's move on to another topic, because, this is a question from JSCO in our chat room. What do you guys talk about Trump's order to waive NDAs? I know this is a topic that has been a hot button topic. What does waiving the NDAs and protecting whistleblowers actually mean? We do know that it is for former government officials, not current ones, and contractors as well. We know that it's, there are some limits to this, but do you think this was more of an actual waiving of NDAs so people can talk about this subject, or do you think that it is just a lot of hyperbole? Because from what I'm hearing, Nicole, these people who come out or allegedly might come out regarding this new waiving of NDAs doesn't mean that they can talk publicly about it. It only means that they can talk behind the scenes away from the public. What's your thoughts?
That's what I was referring to just a few minutes ago. Yes, they still have to report through the proper channels. They still have to take it to Arrow or Pursue or to these Congress people directly. So, it was, I don't want to say it was a nothing burger, because I think it was important that it was said, but it was still kind of hollow, because it was kind of a reiteration of the protections they already have. I think it's more encouraging, though, to hear it stated this way. And if it does bring people out, like, I think the big one is like Hal put off. I think that's honestly who everybody wants to talk is, like, maybe Hal or Jim Lukatsky or Colm Kelleher or Robert Bigelow, if he's still under some sort of contractor NDA. Like, I think it's in that sphere right now.
How many people do you think would take advantage of this?
How many potentially?
Yeah. Like, if you, let's go hypothetical. People in the intelligence community who are involved in this subject. The people that do you think that they would come out with this opportunity, or do you think that they would shut up and still just keep quiet on it?
I think I posed that when I was on last week, when I said, like, what's in it for Trump to be the disclosure president? Like, what's beneficial to this down the line? I think that's what people would have to ask themselves. Does it benefit? How does it benefit them?
What do you think the benefit would be?
Well, they all say it's, because humanity has the right to know, nobody can sequester this information. But what it actually comes down to is what they could potentially do with it, right? Like if it could be monetized in some way, shape, or form, or put out to the public. You can't make any money off of it if it's still in that government hidden box somewhere, the reverse engineered thing, right? Like we laugh or not laugh. Some people take it seriously and some of us go, no, we know the real origins of Velcro. Well, they couldn't do anything with Velcro until they got it out to the public, right? And the public could use it. So
Good Canadian invention, by the way. Just saying.
Brilliant. But
Who doesn't like a good Velcro?
I love it. Do you wear Velcro on your sneakers yet?
No, I'm not that old. I haven't, even though I'm 53, I have not moved into the New Balance shoes yet. Okay. I haven't gone to the New Balance Velcros yet. I figure I would give that about another 15 years or so, maybe 20.
They'll just call them Skechers by the time you'll want to wear them,
I do wear Skechers though. Skechers are so comfy.
I know they're the next generation's New Balance. So
I love my Skechers. I'm not gonna lie.
For people that always wear their Uggs, those squishy ones,
All I'm saying is, I will admit it. You know what? Speaking of shoes, totally off topic here for a second. You ever notice how many people complain about Crocs and yet everybody has them?
Yeah. I think I was just trying to complain about them, but I called them Uggs.
I'm telling you right now, I have Crocs on right now. They're the most comfortable shoes I own. Like walking on air.
I had never worn a pair before, and my mom had like 17 pairs, like every color that has ever been, she had. And so she gifted me a pair of hers, and I wear them like house shoes. Like I feel weird if I wear them out in public. Like I just don't.
I don't wear mine in public, but I'll tell you, around my house, because I have hardwood floors, they are the most comfortable shoes ever.
I'm with you there. Like I said, I wear them like house shoes. So, but yeah, I wore them to the grocery store on accident one day, and I felt really weird. I was like, this is bad. I hope nobody sees me in these shoes. It's like wearing your curlers to the store. You want to be in and out real fast.
It's been a hard weekend for some when you're at the grocery store on Sunday and you see somebody with the unzipped hoodie, the untucked t-shirt, the pajama bottoms, and the Crocs on. It's been a hard weekend.
Right.
I'm telling you, the Crocs are good. The Crocs are good.
I don't disagree, but yeah, they should be worn limitedly.
Let's go to another topic because we only got about 3.5 minutes left with you tonight in a segment that is flown on by. Word is this week on Friday, we could see tranche number 5 come out on war.gov/UFO. That's war, WAR.gov, GOV/UFO, spelled UFO. You think this is the week that we get another one? They said it was coming soon. They started off with 2 weeks, then they went to 3 weeks, then to 4 weeks, then back to 3 weeks. Are we going back to 2 weeks here? Or are we going to wait another week after?
I told you I thought they should stick to the 28-day cycle. So They have been doing it on Fridays, though, I believe, right? So
Yeah, everyone has come out on a Friday.
Yep. Which the old school rule used to be like you release it on a Friday so everybody forgets about it by Monday. So
that is the old government adage, though. If you want to put something important out that you don't want to talk about, you put it out on a Friday because all the politicians have gone home for the weekend. And now I think in the U.S., your government is closed for the summer now, and they don't reconvene until September.
Probably.
So why not put it out now? Right now would be the perfect way to put it out.
Right?
Do you expect another nothing burger? Because the last two have been very, very salty when it comes to providing information.
I kind of quit paying attention at tranche 3. So we had 4. Now this will be 5. And yeah, it just needs to be more. All of it needs to be more.
What should be in there? Like, we're not going to get Roswell. We're not going to get, Kingman, Arizona. We're not going to get Phoenix Lights. What should be in there? What could be in there that would, maybe put a little sweetness on the tongue?
It would be nice if we got Robert Bigelow, his stuff, right? What was he doing all those years? Studying Skinwalker Ranch before Brandon Fugel. So that could be interesting if they would release something along those lines. That might give us some juice.
I'm still surprised they haven't subpoenaed him yet for UFO hearings. That would be a good one.
Well, maybe he talked to him behind the scenes so they have everything that he knows.
I know, but we just want to hear it in public. That's the problem with this all, is all the juicy stuff is behind the dark curtains. Nothing to see here. It's Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons. Nothing to see here, people. Nothing to see here.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Right? Nicole, I want to say a big thank you for helping us out tonight, filling in for Grant Baker, who's taking care of his ailing wife tonight. And hopefully he'll be back later on this week. If not, we're going to call Nicole back because she's kind of awesome. And she's like, oh God, do I have to? Yes, you have to. Yes, you have to. We appreciate you.
Anytime. This is my favorite place.
If you want to find Nicole, you can. Well, she just pops up. She's not on social media anymore. She just popped up on here because she likes it here. As we say goodnight to Nicole and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching.
We own the night.
Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody.
Are you on WABC tonight?
I am in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. By the way, that was your best We Own the Night in a long time.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the first time I said that. We were on audio, though, and it was one of your panels. And I think it was my first show, honestly. My first show.
Wasn't your first one.
No, because I had filled in for what's his name, the mad scientist guy, for like a month.
His name was. He's irrelevant.
Right. I can't even remember. Like, it's just not there. It's not even taking up brain space. So, but I filled in on that show for like a month or two. And then I started coming on the panels. But yeah, I just remember the first time you gave that cue, it like cheerleader brain. You're like, you say this, we say that. You know, I answered your call. You're like, together, my friends. And I'm like, why didn't everybody answer his? We'd say it together. We own the night. Like, I just.
Yeah, but I think though you told me that you wanted to do that.
Because it makes sense to me. Isn't that what you do? Like, you answer it.
I don't know. You're the only one who does it.
It's your show.
You're the only one who does it. You're the only one I allow to do that.
I know. I didn't understand why everybody didn't do that, though. So it's their fault.
Right? Blame them. Like,
I
blame
will. My way's the better way.
Blame Canada.
Right? My air didn't smell dirty today. Thanks, Canada. Did you guys get one of those fires out?
No, my town is right at the south end of my town, about 6 miles out, where they're on evac alert.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still seeing, I mean, it's grotesque here right now. This is getting a little bit dark here. Right?
Right.
What do you do?
Having a heat wave. That's what Illinois is experiencing. Heat wave.
Well, the weird part about it is we're not even in a warm summer, and these fires keep exploding. Like, we haven't had a warm. I think, translating to Fahrenheit, I think our hottest day has maybe been like 85 degrees.
Right.
Whereas a few years ago, when these fires were blowing up everywhere, we were in like 90 to 104 degree temperatures here.
We've been having a mild summer too. I mean, we're having our little heat waves here and there, but not like the constant hot. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. All right, I'm just wrapping up my show here, guys. How you doing? I'm looking as handsome as you are tonight. All right, buddy. All right. To the rest of you, thank you to T-Bone, Lala, Walter, Shogun, and Little Cam. Nicole, I got to run. Tomorrow night on the show, Lance Durrell talks native tales of cryptids and alien encounters. We will see you guys tomorrow, everybody. Good night.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.